What's going on, everyone? I just wanted to stop by real quick before this podcast starts and say you should like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on all my social medias at John D. Clouser. It's literally the same name as the name that you subscribe to on this YouTube channel. So enjoy this clip, and I'll see you guys on the other side.
Reborn Mom Anthem. Hi, I am a reborn mom. I like to play with reborns. Yes, I know they're fake, 'cause I mean like who bought them. I like to change them in real clothes and feed them with real bottles. All hate will be blocked, so like why even bother?
Welcome to The John Show with your host, John Doogie Clouser.
All right. How are you guys? What's going on? Things are falling apart. Okay, so I did things completely different than I normally do this week. I normally do the video first, then the audio, and then I didn't push the start button on the timer to let me know how much time I have left on the clock. But we're here, guys. What is up? So this is episode 35, I believe, of The John Show with your host, me, John D. Clouser. What is going on? Hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, it's another week. It's day like 2,133 of Corona. No big deal, nothing crazy. Just just a normal day in the neighborhood. We're just hanging out, gonna have fun. I'm gonna talk for about 30 minutes, and then I'll let you guys go. I'll let you guys go do whatever you guys want after that. I just went 30 minutes. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. So, again, I hope you guys are doing well. Things are great over here on my side of the world. I live in Missouri, Kansas City to be exact, and it is like 38 degrees right now. It's freezing, and tomorrow's going to be like 30. I think the high tomorrow is going to be 32, and it's supposed to snow. We have like an 80% chance of snow, so that's going to be great. But then by the end of the week, it's going to be up in the 60s, mid-60s. It's going to be crazy. That's how Missouri is. It's super inconsistent, and that's how it'll be. What's even worse is like when it's in December, and it'll be one day it will literally be like 75 degrees. The next day it'll be -2 with snow or raining. It's like sleet. It is insane. It's one of the craziest places to live in the United States because you just get hit by up, down, everywhere. But what was so interesting is right before I started doing this podcast, I usually do it a little bit earlier. But I was actually on a phone call with a good buddy of mine. He was out in Los Angeles right now. I actually flew into Los Angeles and was going to go up to Orange County area. It's a little bit more easier. The Corona stuff isn't as crazy. They're a little more lenient. Los Angeles is absolutely insane right now with everything that's going on with the COVID. They have a governor and they have a mayor of Los Angeles who is absolutely insane. He has no idea what he's doing. They're just going to run that place into the hole, right into the ground. In the hole, well, they're going to make a hole in the ground. See, it all came back around. But he was telling me how homeless people shouldn't have. It was so funny how homeless people shouldn't have dogs because he's seen a lot of homeless. Because the homeless population there is horrendous. And so I was like, yeah, dude, it's crazy how it is. And then he's like, yeah, dude, it's so insane compared to how it was back when we were in college, because that's when I met this buddy of mine. And it was so funny because after I got done with the conversation, I was actually I was watching the pot. Okay, John, you're going to get this. Let's take a drink. You can do this. You can talk. Just sit there and talk. Anyway, I was coming home from watching the Chiefs game over at a buddy's house, and so when I was driving, I was on the phone with him. And when I parked my car, I started walking into my house, and I started thinking about like this one time back in college, my senior year of college, I had this random job. So the crazy thing about if you go into the arts and you really want to make that your whole career, you will do a series of weird jobs in your life, tons of them. So many. And this was one of them. I used to dress up like a ninja and take pre-cut. On one side I would cut watermelon, or I'd cut pineapple, or stuff like that. And then like, so when I chopped it, it would make it easy to break. And I would dress up and I'd go to like houses and do this and do parties for little kids. And it was, one of those things you got to do to pay the bills. And when I was doing that, one of the jobs I had was I was working on, and we had to do this house up in like Bel Air. And this guy who owned the house was one of the chairmen for, I believe, Adidas at the time. And when like after the whole thing was done, we got done chopping the fruit, he was like, hey, John, like I have all these extra shoes that came into this like big shipment. Like, would you want some? I'm like, sure. And so he's like, just take as many as you want. I'm like, okay. So like, when someone says, take as many as you want, you just assume like, just take one. And he's like, oh, you have one? He's like, are you going to grab another one? I'm like, sure. And he's like, you're only going to grab 2, bro? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, why don't you just grab 5 so you have one for every day of the week when you're in school? Because like, he knew me through, because like we just happened to talk, right before the whole like party thing started, where like I was like, yeah, I'm just in school, just trying to be a filmmaker, and just doing what you got to do, weird jobs to pay the bills. And I guess he just kind of felt, sorry for me or something like that, or he was like, hey, like let me just help this like starving, college student out. And he gave me 5 pairs of shoes, Adidas shoes. I'm like, okay, sweet, awesome. So like my size and everything, I was like, oh, this is awesome. And I had them, and after the whole party was over, I was leaving, started smoking a joint in my car, and I was driving back, and I was like on La Cienega in Los Angeles, because that's where I went to school. And there was this homeless guy, and I saw him there just like without any shoes, because I was at a stoplight. And so I was like, well, I'm like, and I was just high enough where I'm just like, you know what, John, you should do something nice, and you should try to help out, the community, like, because someone helped you, so you kind of you should spread that feeling. So I went over, and I tried to get over to the side as far as I could on the right side, and I parked my car, got out, and I found the homeless guy. I walked up to him with this pair of shoes in this box, and he was like, I was like, hey, like, sir, like, hey, I don't mean to like bother you. Like, I'm like, because for some reason I would feel like I'm bothering the homeless guy. This is how I was thinking. And I was like, hey, I have all these extra pair of shoes that they just kind of fell into my lap. And so I was just curious if you'd want a pair. And he's like, no. And I was like, no. I'm like, but these are Adidas, like Superstar 9s with like white with like the black stripes. Like, why would you not want them? And he's like, do you have $20? And I was like, no, but I have these shoes. He's like, those shoes don't mean anything to me. And he's like, I'm like, but you're shoeless. And he's like, and I'm like, all right, okay. And I was just like, well, have a good day. And I walked away, and I got back to my car, and I just drove away. And there was this moment, because when you're high, like there's this time that you feel a little paranoid. And I was like thinking, like, I can't believe I feel like such an asshole for trying to offer this homeless guy a pair of shoes. I don't know why. I don't know why I did. It was just one of the most weirdest feelings in the entire world that I ever had. I was like, this is great. This is when you try to do something nice, and then it kind of just kind of somewhat backfires on you. And so anyway, so another interesting thing that happened this week, I was at the gym as always, just doing my fitness stuff, trying to work on my squats and working on my splits. And I always, like I told you before in previous podcasts, I always do the sauna. And after I work out, that's like one of those best things in the world you can do for anything, like health benefits, all that stuff, I tell you. But like, I just really enjoy it because it's just my treat to myself after a hard workout, And like I told you guys, like the gym I go to, the guys there are fucking savages. They are crazy. And that's the reason why this thing is always broken all the time. It's either people are, dumping water onto it. They are, scrubbing themselves with loofahs in there. And the new one this week is, guys, I watched a guy in the sauna brush his teeth and shave at the same time. It's very interesting. So he would like feel his face, shave a little bit, feel his face, shave a little bit. And in the meantime, he would have a toothbrush in his mouth. And so like the side that he was shaving wouldn't have the toothbrush. It would be on the other side. And then he would flip it over and then shave the other side to kind of even back out. And I watched him do that. And then when you thought that, okay, this is pretty gross and pretty fucking weird. He started taking the toothbrush and started brushing his teeth. And I tell you guys, I've seen a lot of things in my life, a lot of things, and that had to be one of those grossest things I witnessed for a solid 6 minutes. And the reason why you might be wondering, like, how do you know this, John? Because I had my watch on, and I sat there and I timed it, and I just watched my clock wind down on my timer, and I just watched him do it. And you also might be wondering, hey, John, like, so when you're brushing your teeth, your mouth, foams up and it fills with liquid. What was he doing? Like, well, how is he ridding of that? How is that coming out of his mouth? Where was it going? He had a towel, and then he would spit into the towel, and then like close it and like fold it, and he just did that until it was into this nice little square. It was awful, guys. It was one of the worst things I've watched in a long, long time. You don't understand. You don't understand women. Like I'm starting to feel like unisex saunas they should be a mandatory thing, because if there was women there and there's a chance of like a guy getting shamed by a woman, he wouldn't do it. Like, these straight guys wouldn't do it. But since it's just a strictly male sauna, it is hog wild. Like, I thought I was kind of an asshole because I only go in there in my skins. So I have my compression shorts. That's my last things. That's what I call them, skins. And I have those on, and I have a towel, and I have a jug of water, and that's all I do. I sit in there. I don't do anything. I might stretch a little bit if I have a little soreness in my ankle or in my shoulder. I'll have like a ball and I'll rub on it, but that'd be it. That's as far as it goes for me. That's as far as it goes. But to see a grown man in his 40s, pepper hair, just seems like a guy that could possibly have kids. Probably in the right of teenagers, and watching him shave and brush his teeth at the same time in the sauna and spit into a towel was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. But, guys, it could be worse. It could be a lot worse, guys. It really could. I could be one of these people. I was watching, like, a couple of nights ago, I was just trying to find things to talk about on this podcast, and so I'm like, the Niagara Falls. I just happened to hear about it in a podcast I was listening to. I'm like, Niagara Falls. I'm like, I've never really looked much into it. I'm like, where is it at? Like, what is it? What does it look like? I don't know anything about that stuff. So I looked it up, and because there's like two different parts to it. There's like the American part and the Canadian part. And apparently, like, people jump off of it, and no one has ever survived jumping off the American part because it's like just all these jagged rocks. And most of the time people jump off of the Canadian side, but apparently the Canadians like make it a law where like you can't do that, of course, because it makes sense. But I'm just thinking, like, who and why would anyone want to do that? It's just like the elevation is like 614 feet. There's the part of it in like New York State, and the other part is in Canada, Ottawa, Canada. It just doesn't seem like Niagara Falls is the city of the Niagara River in New York State. It's known for its vast Niagara Falls, which straddle the Canadian border. Yeah, but it's quite an interesting thing that But yeah, then I started listening to these random stories. I started like doing a deep dark dive on these people. Like the first lady, whoever did it, she died because after her husband passed away. But what she did a week before jumping off onto it herself, she put a cat in a barrel and then threw it down, and it survived. And so she's like, well, if the cat survived, I can do it too. So that was an interesting thing. And I believe only 4 out of the 14 people have done it, have lived. I believe it was something like that. I didn't write that part down. I just was like, okay, this is crazy. I'm like, and then you look at it and you see how gigantic it is, and you're just like, why would anyone want to do it? And then you see these pictures of these boats, and like, who would ever want to get close to that ever? Like, why would you even? I don't even want to go. I would not even want to go to like the park. I mean, I could just watch it from far. Maybe I'd take a drone up and I looked over at it. Maybe I would do something like that, but that would be about all it would be. Nothing else. It was just no way. No way, Jose. Not at all. But so, but yeah, you know, guys, these podcasts sometimes, we're here. I'm talking, and what is else? Like, what's another interesting thing that happened? Well, I heard a lady describe like having a threesome as having one in her hog taker and one in her log maker. That was pretty interesting. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, think about what kind of party girl that girl is. Like, think about the level of it that, you are to be able to like describe your hoo-ha in your butthole like that. And it's like interesting. Very, very, very interesting. And so, see, this is the thing, guys. I burned through like 3/4 of my stuff right now. So I'm like kind of going to sit here. I'm going to look at you real quick. We're going to take a drink of water like I did. I'm going to, kind of be like, hey, thank you guys so much for like, one, if you've gotten this far. Awesome sauce. That's great. Because, sometimes these are like, easy peasy lemon squeezies. And sometimes these are just, the weirdest things to do. So I guess, we should just go right into the next topic because I didn't feel like there wasn't a great way to segue into that. So I had to find a way like doing something like that. So I guess a little bit earlier, normally I do the movie of the week a little bit later on in the podcast, but I guess I'll just do this one now. So this one I want to say this week is get your pen and paper. Let's see. The movie is called The Square. It is a Australian movie. It's really good, actually. What year? It was made in 2008. And the directors are Nash and Joel Edgertons. So like they're these two brothers. It's kind of like the Coen brothers. That's the reason why I like them. And they're very same style. They have the same similar style as well. But yeah, it has to do with this guy who is basically a contractor, and he has this wife, and he's been cheating on her, and the girl that he's been cheating on her with is like, hey, like you either got to leave her or you and I are done. And so they think of this whole scheme because she's married too, and that guy has a life insurance policy out on him. And so she thinks, well, maybe if we can somehow like trick him and like have him in the house, and we can burn the house down and all this stuff, and then and so then one thing leads to another with burning the house down. So instead of like him dying, the mother of the guy the husband of the wife she dies instead. So then everything falls apart like that. And then there are like someone who else dies, and there's a square because it's like a square part of this land that's being built, and like he's trying to use, and like the whole point of it, like someone else dies and the body needs to be put into a hole and all this stuff. So it's very good, and it got nominated for a bunch of awards, like all these Australian awards. So best supporting actor, best original screenplay, best film, best director. Because like how it worked is like Joel Edgerton Nash Edgerton was the one who directed it, and Joel wrote it with this other guy named Matthew. Was it Matthew Debner? And then they just like made it, and that's how it was. And so that's kind of an interesting way, because normally how the Coen brothers would do it, like they just write it and direct it together, or they write it and direct it together and like make it. But no, this was a very interesting way. So I'm like, I didn't know that part either until I started looking more into it to tell you guys and talk to you about it. But it's a very interesting movie. It's a very interesting movie, and it's like a film noir, so it deals with like the deeper layers of humanity. Like things on the surface might seem awesome and normal, but then the more you get into it, the more and more you realize that it's kind of a mess of life in the world. But yeah, so that was that's the movie of the week I think you guys should watch, definitely, for sure. The Bates were on this week. Oh god, so it was interesting. I don't know, like I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna really go much into it. It's just like I'm pretty sure at this point who you're gonna vote for, who you're not gonna vote for. And yeah, I don't like this little podcast would ever be the reason why you choose to do or do you choose to vote for someone versus you choose not to vote someone. Guys, if you guys listen to this so far, like, God bless you. God bless your soul. Like, you probably just had 30 minutes to kill, like anything, like sitting in the sauna right now, 30 minutes, listen to me. It's awful. But, we're getting through it. We're like, guys, we only have about 9 minutes and 45 seconds left. It's really not that much time. We can just sit here and just talk, have fun. How you get? I hope you guys are doing well. Like, what's going on with you? That's really the thing. Like, you guys are here consistently. And if you're not following me on my Instagram, you really should, because that's basically my biggest platform. I'm going to do a small little plug before this is like another commercial before we get into the next segment. Follow my Instagram. I have stories. I think they're hilarious. It's actually one of the fun. I absolutely love doing those little things and making a little like funnies, because like funnies are the best. Like, they're the last thing. They're the best thing in the world. But yeah, I absolutely love doing that. It's one of the funnest things. I don't know, guys. Like I said, I talked about almost all my stuff like within 15 minutes of like doing this podcast. So I don't know what else to tell you. The Dodgers won tonight. They're up 3-2 now, just one more game. They should have won tonight, and that should have been the World Series if they wouldn't have fucked up last night in Game 4. Like, it was so we're up by 1. I don't know if you guys have watched it. You guys could easily just pause this and go Google that. But it was the bottom of the 9th, and Dodgers, like, they did the Dodgers was on defense. And the Rays hit a little blooper like on shallow center field, and the guy came up on it, and it came out of his glove. He had to go, he caught it, and then he threw it to home after one guy had already scored, so they tied the game. And then another guy was rounding third, and he was about I would say about 4 feet away from home, and then the catcher caught it, or it looked like he caught it, and so he turned back around, but then the ball went by him, and he slid into home, and they won the game. The bottom of the 9th. And then, so it was awesome. It was really great. It was an awesome way to lose a game. So, actually, it was the top of the 9th, not the bottom of the 9th, because the Rays were away team at the time. But yeah, so that's that. It was, but yeah, we're one game away. We have one more. And then, I can't believe, I would never thought that I would see the Kansas City Royals go to 2 World Series and win one and be 90 feet away from doing a back-to-back, though. And I guess the 90 feet one was the first one. Then they won flat out in the second one. But I never thought I would see that over seeing the Dodgers go. They've gone 3 of the last 4 years, and they've lost every time. Granted, like, they were playing against the Houston Astros. Again, let's never forget how the Houston Astros are a big pile of shit, and they cheat. They cheat, guys. If there's a podcast you guys should listen to, it's called The Edge, and they talk about, it comes out every Wednesday, and they're breaking down this journalist who wrote this story about like the analytics and how they got a brand new GM, and they got a brand new organization just to kind of run the whole thing like Moneyball, but they were going to do analytics, and they're going to, like, based on this, they literally said that they're going to tank for 3 years, and they did. They were the worst team in baseball for 3 years, so they get draft picks and build up an organization, get rid of everyone, and figure out the salary cap, how they want to be below salary cap, and how they want to work it, or the I guess because there's no salary cap in baseball, but to get more money and be able to like do it in other things, and they invested in all these cameras and all these editing people and all these. It was crazy, and then all they did was they could read people's pitches, and then they would hit a trash can in the locker room, and then that's how like people would know the swing or when not to swing. It was a very simple thing to do, but it was just baseball cheats, and this is the interesting thing. Like, baseball cheats, everyone knows that, but the thing is, like, you have to cheat with your eyes. So if you can see someone, you can tell by like he moves his shoulders a certain way when he does a fastball versus how he does a slider. That's legal. You can do that, but you can't cheat in the sense of like having cameras or binoculars or someone like looking out and then giving signs to players. So it's been very interesting for the Dodgers to be able to go through this, and it's been for a Dodgers fan seeing us go to 3 and having. I've told the story once before where I was dating a girl and it was against Boston. We lost against Boston one year, and she was breaking up with me while I was watching the Dodgers lose in Game 7 of the World Series. And I was like, this is interesting. She's like, oh, aren't you a Dodgers fan? I'm like, yeah, I am. This has been a great night, getting dumped and watching the Dodgers lose in the World Series. It's been a fun time. Great time. But again, guys, that's my life. This is what I do. I burn tires and light fires and stuff like that. That's just actually I can't believe I pulled that out of my ass. That was like pretty good. And I think I need to acknowledge something real quick. So I've been getting like messaging, like DMs and people saying that they're like, when I posted on the Aaron and John show, it's the other show I do, that I made this poem and I was drunk when I did it. I wrote this poem to this girl. It was a long time ago. This story was a long time ago. And I sent it. But the thing is, like, it was like, I knew I was drunk enough where I knew I was just joking around. And that's what made it funny, was that I just made this silly little poem. It wasn't serious. I fully was aware of what I was doing and why I was doing it and what my intentions of it was trying to be. But a lot of people were like, yeah, John, like, that's really, like, like, the poem is good, but like, I don't think you should really try to write poetry or anything like that. It's like, I'm not trying to write poetry. Like, I even said in the podcast in the Aaron John show, that's like, I don't understand people who can write serious poems. Like, I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. It makes no sense at all. And but yeah, we're here, guys. Got about 3 minutes left, and I want to say again, thank you guys so much for watching. What else do I have? Niagara Falls. Hope you all doing good. Movie of the week. Heard a lady describe. Dude brushing teeth in the sauna. I think everything's good. But yeah, guys, if you seriously have gotten this far, you should definitely give this video. Just give it a thumbs up, please. I can always tell the videos I do good in versus the videos I don't do in, because people probably won't give it a thumbs up when I say it around here, or they don't get to this part because it's not that good. It is what it is, guys. This is practice. This is fun for me. This is how I get better at stuff. For some reason, I feel like this is gonna make me better as a filmmaker for some damn reason. I don't know why. I just do. But if you've gotten this far, guys, like, I don't know, brush your teeth. Like, change your toothbrush every month. Buy the cheap toothbrushes. 6 for you can get like 6 of them for like $1.99. It's crazy. It's super cheap. And then you can like change it out. That's like 6 brushes. That's like 6 toothbrushes in like 6 months. Just change them after every month. Like, just do that. That's my advice of the week, guys. Do that. And wash your hands. Just not just because of COVID, but just wash your hands. But yeah, I don't know. Like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Go check out the Aaron and John show. Check out my podcast that I also produce called the Cool Baby Podcast. I'm not really much on it. I'm just a guy who has everything hooked up, and I do the audio levels, and then if they have like some kind of question, if they're talking about something, I can just look it up online, that kind of stuff. That's me as that guy. I'm that guy. That's what I do. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna probably bounce out here in a second. I'm gonna start doing laundry and play NBA 2K20 because I'm a child, and it's gonna snow, and I just rather just be inside because of it. All right, be safe, guys. Wear a mask. Don't wear a mask. Don't forget to spay and neuter your dogs. Wear a condom. Brush your teeth. And be you. Because you are beautiful and you're perfect. I love you. Bye.